What's up guys, Houndish here, and today we're jumping in with an update for Destiny 2. And this is the second major hotfix after the launch of Witch Queen, and Bungie have finally updated drops of Ascendant alloys. They're also fixing issues with vendors, as well as adjusting red box weapon drop rates in Wellspring. And there are a few other important changes in the update today. Plus we've got some additional things to round up. So as always, I hope you guys find the video useful, and if you do, a rating down below really does help us out. And now let's get into it. And initially, Bungie have said, going live today, we have a one-time name change becoming available for all players to update their Bungie name, and we can do this by logging into bungie.net. So be sure to check out bungie.net and the links in the patch notes. But bear in mind it is a one-time name change for the moment, so if you do it, be sure that it's a name you want to keep for a while. And now moving on to the patch notes, initially we have changes for activities, and for the Wellspring attack they say they fixed a problem that allowed players to remain safely outside of the boss fight arena during the fight instead of being pulled into the room. But also an issue where players were not receiving Wellspring rewards if they hadn't picked up any of the armor from Finch in the Throne World, and bad luck protection has been added for weapon drops and deep sight mods in Wellspring. And they also fixed an issue with Wellspring completion rewards that will make it less likely for players to obtain a powerful or pinnacle drop in the same slot multiple times in a row. So a few good changes there, and of course the bad luck protection for deep sight weapon drops especially should mean that it makes the drops easier to get. So good luck if you're still grinding for those. And then for Gambit they say they fixed an issue where level advantages were enabled in PvP, but they've also tweaked repeatable bounties, and weapon kills have been reduced from 25 to 15, grenade and melee kills reduced from 15 to 5, and super kills reduced from 15 to 10. But also they've reduced the amount an invader kill heals the primeval from 27 to 20%, and so that should be a little bit less obnoxious now. Then they've also fixed some stuff on Throne World, and for Altars of Reflection, they fixed a problem where they weren't showing up properly for all characters. They also fixed an issue where players would sometimes get stuck at the entrance of the palace in Fluorescent Canal, as well as adjusting AI spawn points, and they fixed problems with Ikora's Hive Ritual dialogue, an issue where deep side chests wouldn't appear where intended, and an issue where targets wouldn't spawn for players to destroy in the Canal deep side puzzle. But also players will now be able to respawn properly after being respawned from a turn back message in the Savathun fight in the Ritual mission. And then we have Psyops, and they say Battleground EDZ intel and reward chests will now stay spawned at their intended rate and no longer disintegrate at the 10-second mark. And the second Lucent Portal Wizard will now spawn with all proper shields, fixing an issue where players could softlock the activity by taking down the wizard when it spawns unprotected. For Vox Obscura though, they fixed a problem where reward progress wasn't tracking for the exotic sparrow in the mission, and they updated the triumph description for Old Foes Rise Again to indicate that 4 weekly messages need to be acquired, 1 message per week following player confusion on how to complete it. Then we get onto some general fixes, including those adjustments to Master Raoul, and they fixed a problem where certain quests were replaced with a placeholder icon, some issues with the Google Stadia store, and then a problem where players would purchase a weapon from Beyond Light at the Exotic Archive and see a pop-up message for the deluxe edition of the previous expansion, which is no longer available. And then they adjusted a problem causing Gambit weapon and armor focusing to cost more than intended, and focusing now costs 10,000 Glimmer and 50 legendary shards each. And then they fixed a problem where the weekly limit for Ascendant alloy purchases wasn't resetting at Master Raoul, and they added a one-time purchase of 2 Ascendant alloys for the cost of 1. And so essentially we'll get an additional one there for the week that we missed. But also for Raoul, destination materials are now sold for stacks of 5 and 1 legendary shard, matching Spider's previous exchange rates. They also fixed a problem that allowed weapon telemetries to still drop, and they say go ahead and delete those from the inventory, as they can't be used anymore. Plus there are a few other fixes, including various crash and stability fixes. Then we have adjustments for gameplay and investment, and for glaive mods. Armor mods for glaives will now drop from World Engrams and can be sold by Ada 1, and they fixed an issue where glaive armor mods wouldn't appear in collections. They fixed a problem where the Aeon Safe Titan exotic arms were not showing the familiar gold stripe. And for weapons, tracking rockets have been adjusted after being found too dominant against other Guardians when invading in Gambit. This includes Grand Overture's missiles, and tracking against AI enemies will remain unchanged. So that's an interesting one right there, we'll have to see how that turns out in the game. But they fixed a problem where the Ikelos SMG received an unintentional 40% damage buff, so it should be behaving as intended. I guess we had some fun with it while it lasted. And the same for Wardcliff Coil. The rocket launcher's damage has been restored to its original parameters following an unintentional buff to its damage. So bear those in mind as well. Plus they say fixed an issue where Grand Overture's ability to generate more ammo than intended, and this would happen when the volley was readied, combined with the Actium Warrig. But they've increased Grand Overture's reserve ammunition from 20 to 40, resulting in a max ammo of 60. And then an issue where Iron Banner weapon special effects would shut off the Iron Banner origin trait when it was active, a problem where the logic ornament for Lament would appear backwards, and an issue where the enhanced Golden Tricorn perk would activate on ranged melee kills. There are a couple of things for weapon crafting, and they fixed an issue where the reshaping the Enigma quest objective could be bypassed, another issue where the Enigma glaive reshaping costs could be overridden, and then they reduced the end of campaign weapon crafting progression for campaign missions on normal difficulty. And then overflow has been removed from enhanced pulse monitor following unintentionally overflowing the weapon's mag with seemingly no limit. On top of this, enhanced 1-2 punch now only requires 10 to 12 pellets to hit a target to proc the melee buff, and the base trait and enhanced trait duration have been changed to 1.22 seconds. They also fixed a problem where reforges for the Osteostriga's catalyst would ask for the full catalyst cost. Plus, enhanced ambitious assassin has been changed to add a reload stat. And then connected to that, they fixed a problem where tier 3 deep side chests would only appear once per account, and a problem where the refined Qualica quest wouldn't reappear for Finch at weekly reset. So a pretty mixed bag of changes here. And there are also a few for abilities, so they fixed an issue where the standardized Void Weaken debuff was overriding Divinity's custom weakening debuff, and an issue where Ward of Dawn was granting an unintentional melee damage boost that stacked with Offensive Bulwark. They also reduced melee recharge when invisible, and wearing Graviton Forfeit when in PvP activities, including Crucible and Gambit, and a problem where hitting Deadfall's trap with a throwable grenade or smoke bomb would cause it to disappear. Then some things in the UI right here, and they fixed a problem with player waypoints where guildable titles earned in previous seasons were being caused to appear as a number or not at all. They also fixed an issue with Season 16 and 30th anniversary items with incorrect watermarks, a problem where the in-game carousel and seasonal tab icon for the Hunter's seasonal ornament would display the incorrect cloak, plus issues with finishers and emote previews being delayed, and the addition of new blue banners in-game to help new players learn the game can now be removed from popping up for those who are already familiar with Destiny 2. I've had a few of those recently that keep popping up and just won't go away, so that's another good little fix. And finally, they fixed an issue affecting Xbox One X HDR that caused black levels to turn white. So that does it for the patch today, guys. Let us know your thoughts on the changes, and good luck grinding out those Wellspring weapons and picking up some of the rewards with the adjustments right there. Finally here though, let's mention a new initiative from Bungie, and they've just posted an article called Solidarity with the People of Ukraine. And it says at the time of this article being published, it's reported that over 2 million Ukrainians are displaced by an ongoing invasion, with no end in sight. And they point out that last week the Bungie Foundation committed to donate 100% of its proceeds from the first 48 hours of the Game to Give initiative directly to humanitarian aid organizations in an effort to help people impacted by the war. And they managed to raise $120,000 for that, but Bungie are also continuing to match employee donations to any additional US-based charitable organizations. And they include Direct Relief and the International Rescue Committee. But in the article, they have a list of different organizations that they recommend us supporting. So that's linked in the description, but they also say they're announcing 2 special actions specifically coming to Destiny 2. Firstly, there will be a new emblem, and it does have the Ukraine flag colours. I believe that's the coat of arms right there, and it translates to sunflower. And this is being created for players to show their support for the people of Ukraine and all those impacted during this ongoing crisis. This emblem will be free to all players and will become available on Thursday, March 10th. And they're going to reveal a universal code to redeem the emblem later on today. So once we get that, I will update the pinned comment and description down below with that emblem code and the redeem link. An additional element here is that they say they'll be working with partners to suspend all Destiny 2 sales and commerce in Russia and Belarus, and players in these regions will still be able to play Destiny content they've already purchased and download the free game, but will no longer be able to purchase new content or silver. And obviously that is a pretty big move, and away from video games, a lot of companies are doing the same thing. They are essentially sanctions, but in cases like these, with everything going on at the moment, it can actually be difficult for businesses such as Bungie to even be paid out of countries like Russia, because a lot of the bank and financial sanctions that are taking place. So as well as any moral standpoints, there are a lot of considerations and various reasons that things like this end up happening. And so that's that part. And definitely if you are able to show any support, even by Guardians wearing that Ukraine emblem, it will be a show of solidarity, so I'll link the article for that information down below. And obviously the things taking place right now are absolutely terrible, so it's a neat initiative by Bungie. But for today, guys, that's what we have to speak about in the video, so as always, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and if you have, a rating down below really does help us out on the channel. Let us know if you're happy with any of the updates for Destiny 2, but otherwise, take it easy, and I'll catch you guys very soon.